Hey guys, Tyler Jones with this week's edition of Speak Up Fridays. Now this week I want to give you a few tips on how to influence your legislator. I just spent the better part of a decade at the South Carolina State House working with lawmakers and navigating the legislative process. Legislators in South Carolina don't have district offices or legislative staff, and some of them don't even check their email. This can make trying to influence your legislator on a particular piece of legislation rather daunting. But it doesn't have to be. It's actually quite simple. So here are 5 tips that anyone can use to influence their legislator. Number 1, send a personal email. Now don't sign those form letters that special interest groups send you. Find your lawmaker's State House email address or their personal email address if you can find it, and write them a personal note. Start by telling them that you're a constituent and try to mention some sort of connection you may have with them. You know their brother or your daughters went to the same school or something like that. Keep it brief, but make your case and politely ask them to vote for or against a particular bill. Make sure you include your phone number and address so they can follow up with you, or so they don't question whether or not you're an actual constituent of theirs. The more personal emails from constituents, the better. Form a coalition of constituents and light up a lawmaker's email account with personal emails. It works. Trust me. Number 2, friend them on Facebook. You notice I didn't say like them on Facebook. Find their personal Facebook account and request to be their friend. It's an easy way to introduce yourself without having to actually introduce yourself. When you do send an email or meet in person, it'll give you more to talk about. Now, don't abuse this friendship, but a Facebook message to your lawmaker's personal account is a surefire way to bring an issue to their attention. And unlike an email, they can look at your profile and see any mutual friends you may have, connections, or just generally get a better idea of who you are. Number 3, get in your car and drive up to the State House. Now, this is probably the most effective way to influence your lawmaker. Legislators can ignore emails, they can ignore phone calls, and they can ignore Facebook messages, but they cannot ignore you at the State House. In fact, most will fall over backwards to introduce you from the floor of the House or the Senate. Now, this is the venue for you to make your case for or against a particular bill. If a constituent travels all the way to Columbia just to speak to their legislator, trust me, they will listen. They are rarely in their offices, but you can always go to the pages desk right outside the House and Senate chamber and have a page deliver a personal note to that legislator, either asking them to vote a certain way or asking them to come out and speak to you in person. I promise you, they will come out and talk. Just be ready to make your pitch. Number 4, call their office in Columbia. Do not call their house. Some lawmakers may not mind getting calls at their homes, but remember, these are part-time legislators who only get paid $10,000 a year for this job. Almost all of them have other full-time jobs and full-time families, and the last thing they need is their home phones to be bombarded with legislative phone calls. Plus, it's much more effective when they arrive in Columbia on Tuesdays to have tons of phone messages from constituents asking them to vote a certain way. Number 5. After interacting with them, use social media to rate your legislator. What I mean by this is if you have a positive experience dealing with them, whether it's through a phone call or an email exchange or an in-person conversation, give them some love on social media. Thank them for the time they took to speak with you or voting a certain way. If you do this, they'll be much more likely to open their door to you again in the future. And let's face it, legislators don't get nearly the credit they deserve for the work they do, and they'll appreciate it. Now, on the flip side, if you have a bad experience with a legislator, or if they ignore your call or email, or if they were rude to you in person, then by all means, let them have it online. That will likely be the last time that happens. Most legislators are good people who will do their best to help their constituents. But always remember to be polite, keep in mind this is not a full-time job, and understand that they don't have big legislative staffs like members of Congress. For most of them, serving in the legislature is a one-man or one-woman operation. And those are 5 tips to help you influence your legislator. Thanks for watching.